right, here we go. Betting Weekly live right here. Betting Weekly Studios, BetRivers Network. Mike Carver with you, along with Doug Kazarian, as we get ready on a Thursday night. We got NFL. Week number 6 starts with the Giants and the Birds at MetLife. We have got 2 Game 4s in the Major League Baseball playoffs in the National League this evening in Los Angeles and Chicago. We've got 14 hockey games tonight, 14 games in the NHL. We've got a bunch of college football games, NBA preseason. Doug, we are loaded tonight, baby. How's it going?
Yeah, we really are. I'm still trying to pick myself up off the floor after losing the Mercury yesterday, but I'm awesome at just not my best bets. I hit every bet on the show except for a best bet, so just keep that in mind. But sometimes that's how it goes. But really awesome, like you said, awesome slate of games across the board. And I'm not saying it's overwhelming, but it is great if you put in the work, but it takes a lot of work. Obviously, the NBA preseason's been good for us to start. So just you got to look under every rock to find that hidden treasure and just really need to be immersed in it. And but like I've always said, you got to have tools on the tool belt, right? You got to know how to play every situation. I've talked about it with some friends, kind of like off topic, but it's kind of like the horse track, right? Once a month, you should be laying like minus 200 in some of those races. Like once a month, there's like a 5-horse race. One of them's Baffert that's going to win by a 10 lengths. And people are so afraid to lay $2 in a 5-horse race that they're going to win. But you just got to be prepared to sniff some stuff out. And the value comes in all shapes and sizes.
It certainly does, and we've had a hot start with the hockey too over the first few nights. The hockey's
Well
been
done.
very good to us. Now we open it up a lot though with 14 games tonight. Lots of teams playing their first game. We will talk about that, but we start with the NFL and week number 6 as we move right into it with the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants tonight at MetLife in Jersey. Right now, Doug, Eagles. Of course, the road favorite minus 7.5. They have dominated the Giants over the last couple years. In fact, the entire NFC East has dominated the Giants over the last couple of years. Total has gone down to 40.5 at BetRivers as we get ready for this evening. Why don't we start here? Because I think there is a few, as we mentioned before the show, a few levels to this that we can get into. Let's start straight with Eagles coming off a loss on Sunday at home to the Broncos. We know all the talk that we've had with the offense and A.J. Brown and Smith and Hurts and Barkley and all these guys. Just over a touchdown laying on the road against a division rival. How about the Eagles tonight?
So for me in pick'em leagues, I'm taking the underdog, but it's really I can't bet it. I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Eagles win and cover now that they're coming off their first loss. I mean, they've been sort of stumbling around and the wide receivers chirping a little bit, things like that. Saquon hasn't gotten going, and we'll talk about him momentarily. But I mean, the shine of the Giants, aside from that opening drive against the Chargers, like how good is this team? Obviously, losing Neighbors is massive. The defense can be frisky, though. I will say that. At home, I just wonder that you might kind of Eagles march down and score, and you're like, what am I doing taking the points? But the problem is the Eagles haven't done a whole lot of marching and scoring, and they've been playing with their food, and it kind of backfired last week for the first time. So I lean to the underdog, pick 'em league entry, but that's it.
Yeah, you'd like to think, any kind of giant pride tonight. At least at home, they've been all right. On the road, they've had some problems, whether it be in Dallas and New Orleans. But at home, they've showed a little bit, especially defensively. I don't love the side, Doug, like you. In pick'em leagues, I probably would lean with you with the Giants, but it's the total, Doug, that I am looking at, which is down to 40.5. It's moved a lot throughout the week. I know there was 43s, even some higher earlier this week. This just feels like one of those Thursday night games, Doug, to me. We've had a lot of these in the past where sometimes they're a little sloppy. You've got one team that's a little more dominant than the other. Their offense hasn't really been cooking. One way or the other, Doug, whether the Eagles blow them out, I think the blowout would be like 27-3 and the Giants don't score and it stays under, or the Giants hang in this game and it's like 20-17 and it's still under. I feel like both of my scenarios tonight lay in the under area.
That's the only way I would play the total. It's just really low. But you get kind of a sluggish first drive or so, and then all of a sudden the live total's 38.5, and then it's 36.5, and 40.5 doesn't feel so low. I don't think these offensive coaches are going to all of a sudden script a drive that just carves each defense up. I think the defenses will be good to go, and it's still a rookie. And I like Jackson Dart in terms of like he has the moxie. His teammates respect him clearly, so he's clearly doing something right. But he's still a Lane Kiffin quarterback, and typically over the years, they haven't done well in the NFL, like Matt Barkley and things like that. Now, the NFL has changed, and these spread quarterbacks are much more equipped to play NFL football because of the OCs being more receptive to concepts from college football spread offenses. So maybe he'll be fine, but we've seen guys hit a wall, whether it's CJ Stroud or some others. I think it's going to take some time for Dart. This Eagles defense is legit. Obviously, not the same as last year with the secondary, but they still have enough players. Jalen Carter obviously down. Like I think it's going to be tough for the Giants to move the ball. I think it's going to be some dinking and dunking because the wide receivers are limited with no neighbors. So it's going to be a lot of tight ends and running back screens, stuff like that. So the Giants are going to have to matriculate up the field. And that's why I like the under because the Eagles, I think, are going to be bend but don't break, but we'll see some punts from Dable.
Yeah, and we're going to get into a little bit of a bigger Barkley discussion here, but you brought up Jackson Dart, and I just want to pit stop there with him for a moment because he's kind of been running all over the place these first 2 weeks that he started. He's
Right.
already been banged up a little bit. He's rushed for over 50 yards in each of his first two starts. Number tonight's in the high 30s. I mean, I'm starting to worry Dable's honestly going to get him smashed at some point, Doug, with how much he's got Jackson Dart running all over the place. It's kind of light considering where he's been running, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm feeling Dart for, 40, 50 plus rushing yards this evening.
It's tough. And one big hit, and every quarterback will second guess things. So that's
Right.
my concern. But he is young and dumb, right? Your youth wasted on the young. So maybe he'll just continue to run. I have no opinion there, but I do think there could be one of those games where it's like a rude awakening and stuff like that.
Let's get into Barkley because, of course, Barkley last year was an absolute force. He was a monster for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, he was in the MVP conversation. He rang a 2,000. I mean, it just didn't stop. Tons of touchdowns left and right. It's been a slow start for Saquon Barkley this year. And now you're getting him against his former team who he destroyed last year, especially at MetLife. You got a total under 100 with 85.5 for him. Look at his numbers here the last couple weeks. He only ran the ball 6 times on Sunday against Denver for 30 yards, 43, 46, 88, 60. What's going on with Barkley, Doug?
No, I don't know. I don't want to say he's hit a wall or anything like that. But there's a reason running backs should not be drafted in the top 10. I lied, I laughed when Ezekiel Elliott was drafted so high, and then from then on, I get it. Now Barkley's a special guy, and they helped him win a Super Bowl, and I was all for a guy like Barkley because he is special. But man, the miles on the tires wear down, and you know he spent a lot of years on that turf at MetLife,
Yeah.
and it's just a really troubling position. Like I'm of the belief that unless you have a guy like Barkley or a wide receiver that is just so special like Jefferson, a lot of them are replaceable, man. Some of these guys just go off because the offensive line and athletes are athletes right now. And there's so much good talent right now in college that you just get a guy who can protect the football. It's fine. Now the problem is like teams like the Patriots can't protect the football, like Stevenson and whatnot. But in terms of this, I'm playing the under. Not a huge play, very small because it's still Saquon. He can still break out, but it's a short week. Giants defense is respectable. Teams are playing the run because Jalen Hurts hasn't been looking at the wide receivers, although last week, things broke out a little bit for those wide receivers. But my understanding, based on the deep analytics, is that Saquon's not breaking tackles like he once was. And it's just the wear and tear of the running back position. Now he's a freak, he's a physical freak. I get it. But there's just more ways to win the under than the over in this situation.
And we do have plenty of people checking in there on the chat box. I saw Steve from Lynn likes the Giants to cover. Not so sure, though. Going to tail the under. So Steve from Lynn's with us on that. Doug, everybody get involved, of course, on the YouTube channel, etc. Lean the under on Thursday Night Football and the Giants plus 7.5. So we always want everyone checking in. And there you go. The goalkeeping coach getting involved with Scatterboo receptions. Give me a little Scatterboo receptions for tonight, Doug.
Yeah, I think it's a good play. I mentioned it earlier. It's going to be dink and dunk. That's going to be the game plan, the script for the Giants. They have weak wide receivers. I think they're going to trail. I think it's going to be a passing situation. Dart can only do so much. Scatterbo is very nice to dump off. He's a total tank he's a fire hydrant with legs. So I'm all for Scatterbo. You know, it could be 3 receptions for 7 yards, one of those things. But I think it's a strong play. Probably, not probably, my favorite play of the NFL game tonight. I think that's the right way to go. He's a safety valve for Dart, who, he has the swagger, but it's still the big bright lights of Thursday Night Football. Eagles, there'll be a great atmosphere there in New Jersey. So I think Scatterbo and I think Dable's going to want to script some of that too. Settle him down, let him sort of like a layup, sort of frees up a 3-point shooter, right? Get him a couple layups, some safety, nice. See the ball go through the net, so to speak. So I think this is a strong play for me.
And you know what else? You want to get him involved a little bit, like you said early. The Eagles have one of the bigger, more physical defensive lines in the NFL. And when I got a big guy like him and I just want to give him a run, I want to get him smashing him a little bit, Doug, right out of the gate. Like kind of just like you said, get a feel out there, try to soften that defense up a bit, get Scatterbo involved early and often. All right, one more thing for Saquon before I move on. BetRivers tonight, good special. The Big Blue Boogeyman. That's right, with Barkley coming back to MetLife. Barkley to score a touchdown in the first half versus the Giants, boosted from plus 160 to plus 200. So plus 200 for Barkley to score in the first half, boosted up, of course, against the Giants tonight. He went off at MetLife last year. Very possible he could do that again tonight. I have a couple as well, Doug, for the props to go along with yours. I like Devonta Smith tonight. Kind of a light number for me, 48.5. The Eagle passing game, there's been a lot of talk about it, understandably so. He finally kind of got going last week. Over 100 yards in that game against the Broncos. I know the Giants play a little bit more man than zone, and Devonta Smith's usually better against zone, but 48.5, he could get that on one play. You never know. He's an explosive player if Hurts can find him and he can break one. So I'm going to go over 48.5 with Devonta Smith. And you know I love touchdowns, Doug. And tonight I'm going to go with Dallas Goedert. He has scored in the last 2 games. It seems like he's kind of been the guy when they're not pounding it in with the tush push or giving it to Barkley. He's been the guy inside the 10 or the 15 that Hurts has been finding lately. So plus 270, I'm going to go Dallas Goedert to get in the end zone too.
With you, I think. Look, he can do this in one catch, right? And Hurts started to open things up last week, as I mentioned earlier. So I think it's one of those things. My only concern is that Sexy Dexty and all that stuff just smother the backfield and Hurts, and they turn into those running games and just try to truncate the game if they get up 10 points and it's not a lot of passing and whatnot. That would be my concern. If I were to play this, I would only play the over.
Yeah, for him, no doubt about that. NFL primetime first touchdown, second chance bet at BetRivers as well. If you want to go with me on Dallas Goedert, users will receive a second chance token for any first touchdown wager each game day of primetime NFL games. That's, of course, Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays. When there's 2 games like this Monday night, they'll be valid for either game that you want to use. So BetRivers NFL primetime first touchdown, second chance bet. I already went and used mine on BetRivers, on my BetRivers app before the show, Doug, and I did use it on Dallas Goedert, with a guy right there. So we're going to go with him tonight. First half unders there from Ian on the chat box. I mean, if we're talking for the game itself, Doug, we're expecting a slow start. I mean, we're talking for the game on the under. We like probably the first half in the under as well to get slow.
Yeah, I mean, look, you never know with Jalen Hurts because he can extend so many drives. Just go back to the season opener. How many times on third down did he extend the drive by getting a first down? The guy is really special in so many ways. I'll even, one up you. What do you think of under 7.5 first quarter? You need 2
Ooh.
scores. I mean, honestly, like you get a punt around midfield. So basically a 3 and okay, so let's say it's a punt on the first drive that's not a 3 and out. So it's a first down and then a punt. It's like really all you need is that. And then because they don't push They don't step on the gas at the end of the first and third quarters like they do the second
No.
and fourth, obviously. So 2 scores. I guess the question is if the Eagles score a touchdown, the Giants could commit a penalty, and then it's like, oh, the Eagles would go for 2 with the tush push. Because sometimes just the
They
math, if
do
there's a
that.
penalty, they do that. So if it were 8.5, I'd probably be pretty dead set on the under. But Dable's a good coach. He could script things for the first drive. As we know, these kickers make it from anything near midfield. So that's concern. Um, get you a little action early. It's like a nerfy or a yerfy, right?
Yeah, I mean, and look, you got some other outs there too, Doug. I mean, couple
Right.
field goal, 3-3, and or 6-0 end of the first quarter. So you've got quite a few outs with that 7.5 under in the first quarter. Doug getting spicy with me. I like it here. So Giants and Eagles, Thursday night football, week number 6, going to get us going. Of course, we're here with you, Betting Weekly Live. Mike Carver and Doug Kazarian, Betting Weekly Studio. Sign up for the newsletter, bettingweeklystudios.com for weekly betting tips and the entire newsletter. Right there, bettingweeklystudios.com. Make sure that you get involved. All right, we've got more tonight than just the NFL. We also have, Doug, 2 elimination games in Major League Baseball. A couple game 4s in the National League. One of them is going to get started at the top of the hour in LA with the Phillies and the Dodgers. We've got the Brewers and the Cubs tonight as well. We'll start in LA. We're right now Dodgers minus $134. They're going to go with Tyler Glasnow this evening. The Phillies are plus $112 with Christopher Sanchez making his second start in the series. Right now, in terms of the total as well, Doug, it's now up to 8. I got 8.5 at BetRivers at this moment, so up to 8.5 for it.
So I like the under. My concern is that Clayton Kershaw unlocked the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah.
Leave it to Dave Roberts to, make Kershaw the scapegoat in
Just
another
let him
Dodgers
sit out there,
series
Doug.
on his
What was
way
he
out the
doing?
door.
He just let him sit out there and give up
You know,
runs. Oh, go ahead.
that's all Roberts knows how to do is let Kershaw stay out there too long. But I will say this: look, if you're going to use him, and the game is lost, you don't want to burn another reliever because you may need to do matchups and everything in Game 4. I I lean under, but there's a chance that lineup is sort of unlocked. And then, of course, there's a chance this Dodgers bullpen is reverts back to what it was. But look, Kershaw got in the jam, and that first inning got out of it, and then he was getting squeezed a little bit. So I'm not. I still lean under, but it's you never know. I mean, Glass now has pitched, right? He did come in relief, but
Yep.
this is his first start. I think he'll be okay, but I thought Yamamoto would be fine. Sanchez is fantastic. I just love his stuff. He's a lefty. Dodgers don't hit lefties that well. If I had to pick a side, I'd lean Philly here, but for the game, not first 5 because of that LA bullpen. But I think it's under. I think Glasnow is going to be fine. Sanchez is fantastic with his off speed, change up and everything. I think we're looking at an under here. I'm a little cautious now that the total's moved up.
Yeah, I like the Phillies tonight. I think the Phillies, like you said, they got a little unlocked, especially Schwarber, and they shorted Schwarber, by the way. That should have been like 580. The feet on that home run, that shot that he hit, the first one, not the second one. That was an absolute bomb. I'm going to go to Bryce Harper too. I think he got a little unlocked. You finally saw Bryce Harper hit the ball with a little bit of force in that game. And he's got good numbers off of Glasnow in his career. He's 333 off him with a bunch of extra base hits. I'm going Harper tonight, Doug, over 1.5 total bases. This has been pretty good with me this year so far this week with these TBs. So I'm going to stick with Bryce tonight, plus $125 over 1.5 total bases. But I do like the under with you also, especially getting up to 8.5, which we haven't seen. This is like Yankee Blue Jay total that you're getting in this game tonight. We haven't seen a total like this in a lot of these playoff games over the last week and a half. So I'm with you, Doug. Let's go under.
I mean, look, you got guys who can mash on both lineups. You have 250-plus homer guys, but the pitchers are studs. Short leash with the bullpens, obviously, and 8.5. It's a big number. It's a big number, but as we saw yesterday, either lineup can get going in the series.
They certainly can. The second game, just after 9 o'clock East, so just after 8 local Central Time at Wrigley Field for the Brewers and the Cubs. Right now, minus a $1.21. Brewers, the road favorite. Cubs plus 102. We've got a flat 7 for the total. We got a lot of things at work here. I believe now both managers are trying to keep things under wraps, Doug, but sounds like the Brewers are going to go Freddie Peralta to try to shut the door this evening. Sounds like the Cubs are going to go with Boyd, to start at least and kind of piece it from there after that. And then you got the weather situation. This is like our first real October weather playoff game that we have had. Temps in the 50s, nice strong wind blowing from right field to left field. Smells like an underdog. That's what it smells like to me.
Give me the Cubbies. Sorry, give me the Brewers and Peralta all day. It does feel like an under, and really yesterday was a stone under, except for Priester just getting tagged in the first inning, and the moment was a little too big for him. I don't think that's going to be the case for Peralta, but we saw both staffs settle down after that first inning, and then the wind certainly aided the under. So that's where I am. I'm on the under, but I think Brewers is the way to go, man. Matthew Boyd, this is a dumb thing to do. I would not be starting him. I think he's going to last like 2 innings tops, maybe even an inning and a half. Like it's just, I'd be under his strikeouts. I'd be all of that. So in terms of strikeouts, you have that at BetRivers. I'd look to under 2.5. I think the Brewers mash. I think this is one of those things where it's like a gentleman's sweep, like we see in the NBA playoffs, where the Brewers gave away a game when they were up 2-1, and now they handle their business. I think this is really too cheap of a line. I'm on the Brewers here.
They've got Boyd under 2.5 strikeouts at BetRivers at minus 103, under 1.5 strikeouts at plus 285. Go out for a little, reach out and touch a little plus 285, under 1.5 strikeouts.
For
Alt
candy
number.
there. It's very good candy there.
Number for him tonight. Brewers and Cubs. I asked you this yesterday, and we ended up getting one. The Cubs ended up winning, and so did the Phillies. I think I give the Phillies obviously the better shot of us having a game 5 on Saturday of these two National League series. But I do feel pretty confident, Doug, that one of these teams is going to come through with us like the American League did and the Tigers, and we're going to get ourselves a deciding game 5 in the NL.
Say that again.
I think that we're going to get a game 5, whether it's the Phillies or the Cubs.
It's not going to be in the Wrigley. It's not going to be from Wrigley. You think the Phillies get the win? I lean that side.
I do.
But I do think the Brew. Now you asked me yesterday if we would have a game today, and we did.
Yep.
Thankfully, we have 2 of them. I'm not so sure. I wouldn't take that. If it's plus money or whatever, maybe. But a 2-leg parlay. That's basically what you're asking me. Does a 2-leg parlay of the Dodgers and Brewers hit? So that's plus money. So you're minus money in theory, but I couldn't lay $1.34 with the Dodgers. You got to be careful with these money lines. I've said this before. I think this week, just when you lay the $1.35, $1.40, $1.45 in baseball, you think it feels cheap because you got the better team, better pitch. You got to win a lot more than you realize just to break even. So you got to be careful in those situations. But I do think the Brewers are the right side there.
And either way, Doug, no matter what, when we come back tomorrow for a Friday, we know we got a game 5 with Seattle and Detroit and Terry.
That's right. And we got games on the weekend, of course, one way or another in the National League.
We certainly do. We will either know the matchup for game 1 of the NLCS, or we'll be getting ready for a game 5, 1 or 2 of them. So lots of baseball tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Next for us this evening on Betting Weekly Live, let's go to the pucks. Let's get the pucks out of the way because 14 games in the NHL tonight, Doug. And we've had a good couple nights here to start with the NHL. You got a lot of teams getting going for the first time. Tampa's home for Ottawa. We've got Montreal played last night against Toronto. They're doing a double dip in Detroit against the Red Wings. Islanders open their season in Pittsburgh, who's already played. Back-to-back for the Bruins. Flyers, Panthers, Rangers, Sabres, and some late-night games. The one from last night that I was right there with it. We had the over in the first period in Vegas. The Kings showed up and played, and then Vegas takes the lead 5-3 in the third period. I'm like, there it is. The Kings are falling asleep. We're going to get the puck line too. And then Vegas really just letting go of the wheel. I couldn't believe it in the third period, and they lose the game in the shootout. So a wild night.
I don't know what the live line was, but man, they were up 5-3 and power play with about 8 minutes to go. Yep. I mean, it has to be about minus 3,000, right? Like if you're a $2 favorite and you're up 5-3 with 8 minutes to go and the power play.
It had to be pretty considerable. I would say
So
it
I
was
know some guys
definitely.
who are heavy. I mean, there was sharp money that came in late on the Golden Knights. I know guys who bet the Golden Knights down 3-1 at plus 300 or something. And it was just devastating. You get the shorthanded goal, then you get the crazy breakaway with the net coming dislodged, and the penalty shootout, they only made one of three. So pretty pathetic performance for the Golden Knights. Give the Kings all the credit in the world. They had every reason to fold down 5-3. They had given up four straight goals, and LA with the bounce back. And that's why betting can be so tough sometimes. Like, that's a brutal beat. You would argue, be like, well, they were down 3-1, but yeah, but that's the script, you know?
Yep.
So great job by you to handicap the first period over and the game over. So nailed that. Really, really, really sharp stuff. So I'm all ears as you kind of break down your plays because
Uh,
that's one of my strengths. I know how to bet. I don't know how to handicap every sport. I know how to bet. I just want to listen to you talk.
well, I'm going to go with just three tonight. Obviously, with 14 games on the schedule, I don't want to go all over the place, but there is three that kind of stuck out to me that I like. The first one is Dallas and Winnipeg, both opening up their seasons tonight. Of course, they played in the playoffs last year. Believe it or not, 11 of their last 12 meetings, Doug, under 5.5. Always a tight game. You, of course, have Hellebuck. You have Ottinger. Stars are the short favorite here on the road, but it's the total that I'm looking at. I'm going under the 5.5. BetRivers has it at minus 107 right now. So that's where I'm going to live. It's always an under series between these two. And I think, especially with an opening night, a little bit of jitters, we'll get the same thing with that. My second one is the Rangers in Buffalo against the Sabres. Now, this was moved. This was minus 105 this morning at BetRivers. Now it's minus 122. The Sabres are awful. They got goaltending problems. The Rangers have already played a game. Sullivan, after the game, already given him the business about how they performed against the Penguins. I think they go into Buffalo, moneyline Rangers, minus a buck 22. And my third one, Doug, is I'm going to go to the over in the Detroit-Montreal game. I know I got over last night with Montreal. We needed a couple late empty netters, but that's fine by me. This is ticked up to 6.5 now. 7 of the last 9 meetings between these two, they've scored 6 goals or more. I think same kind of scenario we talked about last night with the Kings. You know, you got a team on the second night of a back-to-back against a team at home who's fresh. I think lots of pucks in the net with Montreal and Detroit. So over Montreal, Detroit, Rangers, and under in Dallas and Winnipeg, my NHL this evening.
Ripping through it. I need to process it all, but stay hot is all I could say. That's my words of encouragement. It's like the Samuel L. Jackson joke from the ESPYs many years ago about joking about how hard can it be to be Tiger Woods' caddy. Just say, nice shot 67 times a day.
And yes,
Uh,
the
so
Amish
I'll just say,
farmer.
nice job.
The
Yeah.
Amish farmer checking in again with us. Joel Quenneville's debut with Anaheim tonight. He's won everywhere he's coached. And I know 3 cups with Chicago. In fact, he started getting that Florida Panther team on the right track before he, of course, got suspended. And then Paul Maurice comes in and wins all the cups with them. I do like the Ducks tonight. I might not play it. We'll see how the early games go. Maybe I'll get involved. But the Ducks are plus a buck 14 in Seattle against the Kraken. I do think they're going to be very, very disciplined under Quenneville, and they're going to be a much better team. Was Boyd's strikeouts an underplay tonight? I think we did like I just saw that scroll
I think
across
just
the
a little
bottom.
sprinkle on the under 1.5.
Like a little fun bet with that fat plus 285 for the under 1.5. We did kind of like that because we think Boyd's going to have a very short night out there for the Chicago Cubs. We have college football this evening as well, Doug. Before I get to this evening's college football, and we do have 4 games tonight that we're going to go through. We are heading towards the weekend. We have some really big matchups coming up on Saturday. We touched upon a couple of them early in the week, but I want to run through a few of them with you here on a Thursday as people start to get their cards lined up for the weekend. Let's start with Ohio State. Into Illinois, early noon East kick. Right now, minus 14.5 for the Buckeyes. Total sitting at 49.5. You know, the problem for me in this game is, Doug, I keep going back to how Illinois played against Indiana. And I just keep thinking about that when I say, it seems like such a juicy number getting the Illini at home with 14.5. But the other really good competition they played this year, they got smashed.
I mean, I think the key is the injuries to the secondary, right? They had a stud who's going to go to the NFL is out. Now, when they went to Duke and beat them, that was a really impressive win looking back, especially because Duke has looked the part since. But this Buckeyes team, the offense has gotten better, noticeably better each of the last couple of weeks. Sayan's looking better. I mean, look, freshman quarterback. I think the best way to play this game is Ohio State team total over 31.5. I don't see a
Mhm.
world now, famous last words, but I don't see a world where they don't hang the big number on this Illini defense. USC was able to go up and down. Heck, Purdue was able to go up and down until Barry Odom wussed out and did a punt for no reason. Um, Ohio State could just bleed them and grind them, but I think the way to move the sticks and everything through the air, and then you got those stud wide receivers, the Illini could get scorched in this game. Now, there's always a chance that they lay an egg. The Ohio State, gets a little bit of a flat spot mid-season, but they're at Wisconsin next week. That's nothing to sort of sneeze about or worry about. This isn't like Penn State's on deck or anything like that. So I think the Buckeyes roll offensively. Illini may be able to hang for a little bit. So maybe it's a shootout. It's now up to 33.5. I think you just take it. I think this is a pretty convincing cover here. I think sorry, for the team total, I think we get there with ease. Question is, can the Illini hang against this Patricia defense? We'll see. Altmaier's been solid, but going against USC and Purdue, very different than going against this defense. I think Ohio State, I think the line of 14.5 and not 14 is telling you all you need to know. I think the favorite's the right side. I've kind of wishy-washy a little bit. Last week I was saying, oh, I can't wait to bet the Illini. No, I think Ohio State covers, but I like the team total the most.
I love playing it this way, Doug. I think it's a great way to go because, like, you're taking it out, you're taking that other part of it out of it, right? Let's just
Right.
worry about, and I don't even think worry because I'm with you. I think Ohio State is good for 35 plus here. I think they're good for 5 touchdowns against Illinois. They're good for 5 touchdowns against pretty much everybody that they step on the field with. So let's take the 14.5 out of it. Maybe Illinois can hang, maybe they can't. But I like just focusing in on the Buckeyes getting themselves over what's now a 33.5
Oh,
for the
so
team
I think
total.
the question is when you break this down to your point, so what's more likely? Ohio State scores less than 33.5, but still covers the 14.5. So it's like
Right.
31-10. Okay.
Yep.
Or is it smarter to bet the team total over like 35-24? So it still goes over, but they don't cover the 14.5.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's way more likely the latter that we see points from both teams than we do just Ohio State, and they do cover the 14.5, right? So it'd have to be
Right.
like a 31-10. So that's why the logic of the team total makes the most sense.
Top 10 matchup also in the Big Ten in Oregon as Indiana makes the long trip to Eugene. Of course, both teams 5-0. Signetti got the Hoosiers once again pumped up and playing well. Oregon now down to 7.5. We saw this, of course, early in the week, look aheads, etc., with some double digits, but it's now at 7.5 for the number, 55.5 for the total. This is a 3:30 East kick out on the left coast, Doug.
Honestly, I like the dog here a lot, and I think it's some of it's that Penn State hasn't looked great. So what do we make of Oregon? I think Dan Lanning's fantastic. I think he's such the right fit for Oregon. Try to instill toughness on a program that's had all this speed and all the Phil Knight money. But are they really that legit? Is Dante Moore that great? He's the Heisman favorite, and that was a nice win to go to, at the whiteout game. But this Indiana team, I think they can run all over. I'm on the Hoosiers here. I'm hoping the line goes. I just want. I would like to get the 8-9 kind of back. I mean, it's never going to touch 10 again. But I think Indiana, man, I think they're a live underdog here. I think they can win this on the field. I really do. Um, Oregon should have trouble stopping this run. The Hoosiers have some playmakers. I like Mendoza, but he has some weapons too. I think Zignetti's going to have these guys ready.
Yeah, you got a couple guys who have been in the Heisman conversation already with Mendoza and with Moore in what should be a very fun game. Also, same time, 3:30 East kick down at the Cotton Bowl for Oklahoma and Texas. Of course, the Red River rivalry. We talked the other day about Mateer. You're probably not going to know 100% about that until they're walking on the field and doing the coin toss. But -1.5 for Texas and a total, Doug, of 43.5 now at BetRivers.
We've seen some fluctuation and movement on this line. I think the under's the way to play. I don't know if people really fully understand how good this Oklahoma defense is. I mean, they have made it a focal point. So the Big 12 defenses of Lincoln Riley with guys running around wide open and they're just outscoring team. those are long gone. And if it's Hawkins at QB for OU, even more so on the under. The Texas defense is pretty solid as well, right? I don't think much of Arch Manning. He's going to need some work. This OU defense, I think first half under is a banger. I really do. I think both coaches are going to play this conservatively, lean on their defense. If it's fourth and short at midfield, they're punting. I think this is going to be a real rock fight here. I really do. I don't think this opens up. We've seen some low totals in the past that have opened up, but that's because there were good quarterbacks. There are not good quarterbacks in this game unless Montier comes back. But even if he does, how healthy is he? He had surgery on his right throwing hand. So got to be careful there. He could be there in just name only, right?
Very
So
dangerous.
I'm on the under here. I just you could get some pick sixes, some deflections. Like we saw that a little bit when these quarterbacks played or when these teams played recently. But again, 21 and a half is a big number for a first half. So I like the under in both half and game, but I think more on the first half.
Yeah, definitely like the first half under for those two. And last one for us for Saturday, Pittsburgh visiting Florida State. You know, I like Pitt here, Doug, actually. Now down to 10.5. It was some 11.5 earlier at BetRivers, now 10.5. This freshman quarterback came in last week against Boston College and he lit the scoreboard up. I'm not a big believer in Florida State. I think they put their whole season on that opening game against Alabama. They've lost the last couple weeks to Miami and Virginia. They might win this game, Doug. I think Pittsburgh is going to be right there with them, even in Tallahassee. I'm going to take the points with the dog here on Saturday.
I can't fault you there. The problem is I just think Narduzzi's such a dope. He's such a meathead. I just can't do it. But the Doke's got a great environment. It's a little uneasy with Pittsburgh, and I don't know, man. I get the concept, but I can't back Narduzzi, so I just can't get involved there.
Wants to be one of those guys, Narduzzi, the old school football coach. Look at
Ah,
me, where
kick a field
he's,
goal on the one, fourth and goal.
that's
He kicked a
Narduzzi.
field goal down 7, fourth and goal on the one with 4 minutes to go. And they asked him afterwards, and he said, "I trusted my defense." It's like, yeah, dude,
Yeah.
that's why even more so why you should go for it if you trust your defense, because if you don't get it, they're pinned on the one, you'll get the ball. And perfectly, they hit the upright on the chip shot. And so he's just a meathead, and I can't get involved, but he's done a nice job with the program. He's not a complete disaster. It's just, I just can't stand these coaches who botch things, and he's just exhibit A of that.
4 games tonight in college football. We've got some Conference USA, we've got some American, we've got some Fun Belt, as well as you like to call it. So Louisiana Tech is at Kennesaw State tonight. Minus 5.5 for Louisiana Tech. 46.5 is the total. Anthony talking about, I'm going to talk about the Tulane East Carolina game in a moment, Anthony. Let's hear Doug first, though, on La Tech, because I really like La Tech this evening, Doug. What about you?
Yeah, this is my play of the day. Kennesaw's been a kind of a sneaky fun team to bet the last few weeks. They've won 3 straight. But this is a different ass. This is still a team that struggled with Wake and struggled with Indiana. They put up 9 points against each of those teams. This La Tech defense is really strong. Great red zone defense. They are now the betting favorite in most places to win the Conference USA. And this is a team that held LSU to 23, Southern Miss to 20. They're coming off a bye. Their offense has kind of got it figured out now, and Kennesaw State's not going to be able to protect their like offensive line and quarterback. Like, I think this is a absolute beatdown. Just Louisiana Tech's going to control this game. I know it's road chalk, all that stuff, but this has 27-13 written all over it. 27-20, 27-17. I like Louisiana Tech here. Give me the Bulldogs.
I'm with you. La Tech on the road at Kennesaw this evening. East Carolina visits Tulane. Little American action. Tulane minus 6.5. 53.5 is the total. I like East Carolina here on the road, Doug. I'm going to take the 6.5 with them. They're a spunky team. They obviously played you at NC State earlier in the year. Tough. That's a bit of a rivalry. I understand that. They played Tulane tough the past couple years. But I also really like the under, because if it's the kind of game that I'm envisioning with East Carolina hanging around, it's with them dragging Tulane a little bit into their level. So I'm going to go under 53.5 in East Carolina this evening.
Right. I'm processing that. Again, I was really all about this Louisiana Tech. So
Yes.
I I can see that. I like how you said they're kind of correlated, and that's a script. It's just the fast. I'd have to pass on that. I think the game could get away. I was on one of the unders yesterday, but I could see it. I'm not getting involved in that game, but I could see it.
If this game gets at Tulane's pace, forget it. I mean, Tulane's
Right,
going to
right.
cover and they're going to go over, and the game's going to be a complete blowout. East Carolina's got to drag him in the mud a little bit tonight on the road, and I think that's where I'm looking for with both of those kind of tying each other together. Southern Miss is a 3.5-point favorite on the road at Georgia Southern this evening. That's got a biggest total tonight, 59.5 for Southern Miss and Georgia Southern. Big number here.
I mean, Southern Miss was a chic team, right? Coming into the season, everyone
Yeah.
coming over from Marshall, and look, they've lost to Mississippi State. So what? I mean, that was nothing to sneeze about. They bounced back with wins. Did lose to Louisiana Tech on the road. I don't like Georgia Southern at all. I think they're weak. Speaking of coaches that are morons, Helton is not all there. So I think he's a better fit for this conference than he was USC. But I agree with you with Southern Miss. I think that's the right side here.
Uh,
Better
and
coach.
and Jacksonville State is at Sam Houston, another road favorite. We've had a lot of road favorites here in these Wednesday and Thursday night
Where?
games in college football, and a 54.5 for that one. Sam Houston State is horrible, Doug. They're awful. They're a bad
So they're
football
one of 3 teams that are winless against the spread. So not
team.
only are they winless overall, straight up, but they're winless ATS, and they are pretty bad, to your point. Um, I mean, what could you say? I mean, they're just getting like crushed in all these games.
Yeah.
It's been a long season. That UNLV game, remember they were a trendy pick. Like the number got bet down from like 14 or 13.5 to like 9.5 or something like that. It was crazy line movement. But if they got blown out at Hawaii, of course Texas, but they've played some decent competition, right? They've played UNLV, Hawaii, and Texas, which is pretty good, and so is Western Kentucky, all things considered, right? In their
Yeah.
own conference. So uh it'll be at some point, like, we've seen Oregon State turn things around, right? Have some narrow finishes and stuff. I wonder if they're going to start doing that once the quality of competition comes back to earth. I mean, playing UNLV in Western Kentucky, I mean, and then Texas, like what they're supposed to lose, right? And then at Hawaii, that's supposed to lose
Well,
that.
yeah.
And then
Well,
this New Mexico State team kind of hung with New Mexico for a while. So maybe at some point they're going to be a good bet on. I just don't know if it's this spot.
Well, I know one thing, Doug. We're going to see a lot of them as we chat here on weekdays because I know you're going to get a lot of Sam Houston State and a lot of Jacksonville State on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights going forward here. So I'm sure we're going to form some other opinions about Sam Houston State in the next few weeks. Make sure you get involved. BetRivers Football Squares. That's right, players who place a qualifying same game parlay of at least $10 on eligible NFL or NCAA football games will receive one standard entry into the weekly squares game. Winning standard squares will be awarded a prize of $20 bonus bet. See the app and the website for more details. I know we got a lot of college tomorrow night too, Doug. We've got Rutgers, Washington. South Florida's in action tomorrow night against North
South
Texas.
Florida game
That's
is going to be massive.
Yes, I've already got my eyes on that South Florida game tomorrow night as well. Last thing I think for us is NBA preseason. There is 5 games tonight. T-Wolves, Knicks, Pistons, Bucks, Hornets, Thunder, Cavs, Bulls, and the Clippers are playing late night against the Guangzhou Long Lions, Doug. I tried,
With
and
Victor
hopefully
Oladipo. Isn't
with
that the team
Victor,
with Victor Oladipo?
I think that it is. Is there anything that has interested you in the NBA preseason this evening?
Yeah, so I like to what I've been betting on. We've taken a lot of dogs, right?
Yep.
4 plays so far in the show. We're 3-1 with dogs, a couple of them outright. I think you want to take big numbers of teams that are really excited for the season and have a mission and a focal point, right? So the only time we didn't win or we cover with the Jazz, but they lost by 13. We had 10.5, and it was just a bad fourth quarter, right? They were right there all game. So any big spreads that are worth taking tonight? Well, not really, right? There's the Thunder and the Hornets. Now the Hornets do have a little vibe and bounce in their step this year. But the problem is the Thunder go like 11 deep. So I just don't want to get involved in that game. And then there's the rematch of the Bulls and Cavs. We took the Bulls plus 8.5. They won outright. Now they're catching 5.5 at home. I only consider that game or that side on that game. But I like the Pistons. They are like locked in right now. And this line has moved. It was 2.5 overnight. Now it's 5.5. But look, you got Cade Cunningham and everyone's playing for the Pistons. Giannis not because he's played in summer overseas, and that's why the Lakers aren't playing Luka. They've already the rust is already off for these superstars. I think the Pistons are sort of in not FU mode, but they're in they're in regular season mode right now, and they want to make a serious push to the playoffs. They're annoyed with the loss to the Knicks because they didn't have Isaiah Stewart, and then the officiating with Hardaway and all that. I think the Pistons are on a mission, and I think the Bucks are figuring stuff out. Like I think Porter Jr. is going to start the season as their point guard. I think Milwaukee's going to go through the motions in this game. I think the Bucks are going to be much more focused.
There you
Sorry,
go.
yeah, Pistons. Sorry.
Yeah.
Pistons are going to be much more focused.
Yep, Pistons there tonight in the NBA. All right, Doug, we'll get out of here with some best bets. We gave you a
Did you see
lot.
this breaking news, though? Did you see this breaking news?
Ooh, how
For
about
the first
that?
time in his career, LeBron James will miss a season opener. So that opening night game against Steph Curry and the Warriors, not going to happen. LeBron's got sciatica. And this is why the front office did not want to offer him a long-term contract. For the first time in his career, LeBron is going to be playing on an expiring deal. He's always had that player option. He's always had the flexibility because of his clout and talent. He was able to hold leverage over a front office. So the Lakers front office said, "No, thanks, but no thanks. You'll be playing out your final year at 51 million here, and then we're done with you." So he might retire because of that. That's why we had the stupid Hennessy ad this week and decision part 2. The question is, how many games is going to play this year? Are the Lakers going to take some time? All this. So I don't know, um, what we're going to do with this. So I, 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 I think the Lakers are going to be kind of a figure it out as they go along, but they have so many question marks with Austin Reeves, obviously LeBron. They're bringing in DeAndre Ayton. I just think it's going to be a tough season for the Lakers, as great as Luka looks physically.
And by the way, I went to go look because I don't know what the line was before, and I'm going to leave that up, that Brad comment. I want to get to that.
Uh,
Lakers opening night against the Warriors at BetRivers is -1.5 right now. Now, I don't know if that's been
it's
adjusted yet.
available.
I don't think
I'd
it's,
fire.
I'm
I'd
pretty sure
fire.
that that's what it was before this announcement that just came across. So Warriors and Lakers on the 21st there. All right, Brad checks in with, I was worried with the W almost being over that I no longer get to hear Doug rip on people. See Cardoza, Plum. I guess that's Haley Van Lith there with the HVL. But
Yeah.
thankfully, we have college football coaches. I'm giggling almost as much as Carver is. And it's true, Brad, because I'm like Doug. I love ripping on the college coaches and even some of the some of them are just so ridiculous. And because I've talked about Narduzzi in the past, and that's what made me chuckle so much, Doug, because I know what you're talking about with Narduzzi. He's a rockhead sometimes. He just is. It's amazing.
I've had people chirp at me on Twitter like, "I can't believe you think you can criticize these coaches having never played." It's like, dude, I'm not talking about the offensive technique of the hands of the left guard on where they should be on the blocking
Right.
scheme. I'm talking about the math of timeout usage and other decisions. That's where I'm smarter than these meatheads. And frankly, having gambled my whole life and going to sports books since '05, I watch more games than these people do. They watch one game on the weekend. I watch about 50, and I'm simulating the math of all these timeouts and everything. And I know more with game theory than they do. And then on Sunday, right, they're going over film and preparing like they should. And I'm watching 13 games and understand the math of that stuff. So I'm better at this stuff than they are. It's simple as that. Why do you think these teams in the NFL and college are hiring quality control coaches to help them with timeout usage? Even Andy Reid hasn't figured this stuff out. He butchers timeout usage on defense. It's a different skill set. They all need help with it. I'm not, some savant, and I'm the only one in the world who knows this. It's they don't, and many of us do. And it's not that crazy. You don't have to have played football to understand this stuff. You actually have to have played Madden football to understand this stuff. It's simple math and simple kind of common sense, which clearly some of them don't have.
Some of them don't have it. It's great. And I'm with you on most of these coaches. All right, best bets out the door. Mine tonight are the under in the Giant Eagle game. I really think that that's going to be a slop fest, under 40.5. And I gave you all those numbers on the Dallas Winnipeg unders, that whole playoff series last year. 11 of the last 12 games under 5.5. That's my other one, Doug, the under in the hockey game.
Ooh, okay. Buyer beware. I've only lost best bets this week. Even when I had both two different props with the running back on Monday night, I picked the one that lost and not the one that won. So But I am gonna, full speed ahead. Louisiana Tech -5.5 against Kennesaw. Look, the defense is too good for the Bulldogs, and the offense should get going. I think this is a relatively low scoring game, but we're looking at 27-17 kind of final. I think this is a good spot for Louisiana Tech. They figured things out with their quarterback situation. Even on the road, I'll lay some chalk here.
I guess I should give a buyer beware also, Doug. I haven't lost a best bet this week on the
Uh-oh.
show.
Oh.
6-0 over
Ooh.
the first 3 days
Ooh.
with the best bet. So that's as buyer beware as it gets going into this evening for us. Doug, tremendous job. As always, we've got a huge night ahead here. Betting Weekly Live, Mike Carver, Doug Kazarian. We're back tomorrow for a Friday. Big Friday. We've got all the NFL games. We know we're going to have Mariners against the Tigers tomorrow night. We've got a bunch of college football games as well. Doug, I will see you then. Great job by everybody. Make sure you check us out tomorrow. Betting Weekly Live, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. Pacific, right here. Betting Weekly Studios, BetRivers Network. See you tomorrow.